story starts out a lot like Steve's story started out, in that Barbara and I were married in the winter of 1974. And if you want to be quick on the dates, that's 48 years ago.
There you go.
The winter of 1974, Richard Nixon was president. The economy was tanked, and so most of the winter I didn't work. Come spring, though, I got a job with the Huron County Road Commission. Now, Huron County is in the thumb of Michigan. This is a Michigan map, and it's in the thumb. It's at the tip of the thumb. It's a peninsula that protrudes into Lake Huron, and it's surrounded by Lake Huron. It has 90 miles of shoreline, and along that shoreline there's a number of little parks that are maintained by the Huron County Road Commission. One of the most popular of those parks is located in Caseville, which is on the Saginaw Bay side of this peninsula. And anything along this side of the peninsula is golden, sandy beaches, nice, clean, clear, warm water. You get out on the Lake Huron side of things, and it gets all rocky and rough. It's still beautiful, but the sandy beaches and stuff make it a vacationer's paradise. People come from all over the state to vacation there, and there's fishing, and there's boating, and there's water skiing, and there's just all of the kinds of things that you go to the beach to do. The park that I went to work for was at Caseville County Park. And like I say, it was one of the most popular parks in the county. My addition to the park staff raised the summertime staff to 3. There was the camp director, there was the camp director's wife, and there was me. And my responsibilities fell around a singular theme, which I was to do whatever the park director told me to do. So that's how my summer began. We lived about 20 miles from the park, so it was a really pleasant early morning drive through the country to get there, and I would get there by about 7 o'clock, and I would open the gates and prepare for the day. One of my responsibilities, we had a little Massey Ferguson tractor with a front end loader and a spring rake on the back. And my first responsibility of the day was to take that tractor, go down to the beach, use the spring rake, and rake up what had been deposited since the day before. So I got seaweed, and I got cattail shafts, and I got discarded swimwear. It was all that kind of stuff that you'd pick up. I would finish that by maybe 7:30, 7:45, and then it was time to clean the restrooms. The restrooms were to be closed from 8 to 9 every day for maintenance. And really, I had no trouble with the men's side of things, because guys don't mind other guys coming in and doing kind of cleaning that we did. What I'd run into trouble with is trying to get the ladies out of the ladies' room so that I could clean it up. Now, this was pre-air conditioning time, so the doors were wooden screen doors that opened and closed with a singular spring. So you would grab the handle and you'd pull the door, and then it would go bang. And that's my interpretation of a screen door swinging. And that probably needs work, but we'll get there. We'll get there. So I had no trouble with the guy's side. I would go in there and I'd have a couple of galvanized buckets. One had cleaners in it, one had a mop in it. I would have a garden hose that I would hook up, And I'd clean the toilets, I'd clean the shower stalls, I'd wipe down all the sinks, I'd take the hose, I'd spray down the floor, make it all good for the next day. When I got to the ladies' side, though, to get the gals out, I developed a plan, and that plan was I would open the door and I would take the buckets and the hose, and I would poise them, and I would, in my best outdoor voice, say, "Maintenance!" And I would toss that in, and the buckets would go smashing and crashing, and the hose would hit on the floor, and I would hear these screen doors from the stalls going, bang, 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 bang. And then these ladies would file out past me, and I would have the restrooms to myself that I could get them clean. And that worked out pretty good most of the summer. One of the jobs that I didn't care for, but this was by far one of the best jobs I ever had. Just to say that, because just imagine spending all day at the beach. Even if you're working, you got the blue sky, you got the golden sand, you got the blue water, you got all the folks out having a good time. It was a good job. But the part of the job that I liked the least was cleaning the fish cleaning station. Now, the fish cleaning station was a little gazebo that was screened in. Inside there was a table about 3 by 3 with a pretty good hole in the middle of it. Underneath that hole there was a big wash tub, galvanized wash tub. And folks would go out fishing. They would bring their fish in. They would come into this fish cleaning station where they would clean and scale and de-head their fish and scrape everything into this galvanized wash tub. So 3, 4, maybe 5 times a day, depending on the day, I would get in there, I would wash down the table, I would take the wash tub, I would put it in the front end loader of the Massey Ferguson tractor that we had. I would drive it out to the far corner of the parking lot. Now, Kaysville County Park has a huge parking lot, and it is barren. There's no trees, there's no grass, there's just asphalt and sand, and way in one corner, there's a 55-gallon drum. My task would be to take that wash tub, take it to the 55-gallon drum, and dump it in. Remember, this 55-gallon drum sits out in the summer weather in the corner of a parking lot in the bright, hot sun. The sand is too hot to walk on. The asphalt is sticky, because it's hot. And the first time I dumped the tub, it wasn't too bad. But trash got picked up on Mondays and Thursdays. So if it wasn't a Monday or a Thursday, the end of the day, it was a challenge getting close enough to that barrel to do what I had to do. So I developed a special skill. I would approach that tub, that 55-gallon drum, on the tractor with the fish remains in the front of the bucket, and about 25 yards out, I would hold my breath, I would pull up to the barrel, and like a hillbilly ninja, I would lock the brakes, I would stop the tractor, I would jump off, grab the tub, dump it into the 55-gallon drum, put it back, jump back on the tractor, get about 25 yards away, and then this was my practice. Now, one Monday morning, Cove Sanitation showed up. It was their Monday pickup, and they had a new employee. So they asked me if I would ride the truck down with them and show that employee how to dump that 55-gallon drum. And this employee just happened to be an acquaintance of mine from high school. He was a couple of years behind me. And so we had we had this wonderful experience of standing on the back of the garbage truck. You know, they had a handrail you'd hold on to and a little place for your feet, and you'd ride there. And as we're going down there, he's sharing, he had been working for co-sanitation for about a week. And he was sharing his first week's exploits with me. Now, young teenage, or old teenage guys like to impress people with the disgusting stuff that they can do, right? And so this guy was regaling me with all these stories of his first week on the co-sanitation pickup team, right? And as he was doing that, I felt that it was necessary that I warn him what we were getting into. So I interrupted his storytelling, and I said, you know, we're going to come up on this thing. We're going to come up on it kind of fast. And when I tell you to hold your breath. We'll do what we have to do, and then I'll tell you when you can breathe again. And he gave me one of these looks like, yeah, you know, what do we need to do that for? And but as we approached the barrel, I said, hold your breath. And to my surprise, he did it. And we pulled up next to this 55-gallon drum. We jumped down, we tipped it, we grabbed it so that we could dump it in the back of the truck. And we dumped it into the bin in the back of the truck. And I put the barrel down, and he hit the thing to dump the bin. And I jumped back on the truck, and he jumped back on the truck, and he made one mistake. He took a deep breath before the bin was empty. And while that bin dumped its contents into the truck, he dumped his contents into the parking lot. And the truck moved away, and when we got about 25 yards away, I stepped off the back of the truck and watched it go away with my friend, holding on and retching every step. And I looked at the sky, and I said, this is a glorious day to be on the beach. And that's my